Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to roll on with our review of the 2011 NASCAR Media Tour. My name is Bassmasters. This is Buzz Cutler. We're talking about front row motorsports today, Cutler.
No, actually, we're talking about furniture row motorsports.
Oh, dang it.
But I think...
one of those rows. Yeah, furniture row, because we went to a furniture store.
We did go to a furniture store. It was the first time I've ever been to a furniture store as part of the NASCAR media event, but it was pretty cool, and I think both you and I had a similar feeling that there is hope circulating around this one-car team.
I know I'm reading too much into it, but first of all, you gotta love a team that gives you $1,000 in furniture.
Well, they didn't give everybody $1,000 in furniture. Bassmasters won the door prize.
That was pretty cool. So that gave me a good feeling, but I did notice a few things. There was an attention to detail, a level of organization there that impressed me just on the media tour. I mean, I know this is insignificant, right? But they had a guy there to adjust the volume of all the different speakers so it would sound right. Attention to detail. They were very clear that they're on a long-term plan and that they're making steady progress on a long-term plan. That really came through in everybody's attitude, and I think their driver, Regan Smith, is a pretty talented guy.
Yeah, remember Regan Smith almost won at Talladega. Some people say he should have won at Talladega, and then he was out of a ride. But his team, DEI, was out of existence at the same time. And I was talking to a fellow member of the media, and I won't mention their name because this wasn't necessarily an on-the-record conversation, and this person told me that front row... I did it. Furniture row basically took Regan Smith and unlearned him all his bad habits and retaught him to drive, and it's starting to pay off.
I used to get bent out of shape way too easy. Every lap's a different lap. You hear golfers talk about it. Well, forget about your last shot because you can't change it, and we just brushed the wall coming off of turn 2, and it cost me a second on this lap because I did it. Well, I can't change it, but what can I do on the next lap to make sure that doesn't happen and to maximize that I'm getting everything out of the car that it has?
You know, I think this is going to be an interesting team to watch. They did make steady progress at the end of last season. I'm not saying chase berth. Top 20 is going to be a good season for them in points.
We've started last year to turn the corner on and saying, hey, we're a little bit of an underdog because we're from Denver and because we're a single-car team, but when we look in our review and we're beating them on a weekly basis, certain cars, that's a feather in our cap, and that's kind of like where we feel like we're at now.
But I think maybe if everything comes together, maybe that's achievable. I want to watch this race team and see what they do because it's just an interesting story. I like the way they're doing things.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. They're not going to be vying for wins, but if they can finalize a top 20 ranking at the end of the season...
That would be a fantastic season.
Now, we spent a lot of time talking to both Pete Rondeau, the crew chief over there, and Joe Garone, the general manager, about the logistics of working out of Denver.
Right.
And everybody was talking about the challenges, but we also asked them about some of the advantages. For instance, Joe Garone said, well, all the guys sort of get together and they bond because there's nobody else there. Pete Rondeau said there's nobody trying to hire our guys out from under us. So it's kind of interesting.
The other thing is they've got a pit crew this year from Stewart Haas Racing, almost one of Stewart Haas's backup pit crews. And I asked Pete Rondeau, I said, these backup pit crews these other teams have, a lot of times they're there so they could fill in if something goes wrong with the starters, basically. And I said, can they just pull guys from your team? And he said, no, I think Joe worked that out. So I think their pit crew is set for the year and should be an advantage for them versus what they had last year.
But I also talked to Pete about, hey, how do you deal with this? What if, Darian and Tony want something different out of their pit crew than you guys want, yet they're all training together? And Pete Rondeau just sort of said, well, it's just on me to communicate. So it'll be interesting to see how that all works out.
All right, that's our take on furniture row racing. Thank you for the $1,000 worth of furniture. We got to get down there and pick up some bunk beds.
You have to. I didn't get $1,000 worth of furniture.
You're going to help me move the bed anyway.
I'm not going to help you move.
All right, we're talking about, I don't know who we're talking about next, but we'll be back.
I think we'll talk about Richard Petty Motorsports next.
Okay, let's.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.